First, I would like to thank all of you for supporting my podcast with comments and likes. And so you all know, the podcast that I'm doing with new people is introduction podcasts to get to know those people a bit better, how they started Eve, what they feel about Eve right now. And if you feel that you want another podcast with someone I've been talking to or someone else, where we talk about certain aspects of the game, let me know that in the comments, please. And I just want to say that I keep track on the giveaway participants on my 300 sub video. If you have not participated in that and you want to win, then watch that video and good luck to you all. Now let's get into the podcast. Hello and welcome, Rambo. Thank you for joining, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me. What's up?
I am actually quite good. I've had a weekend that was pretty nice with my kids. Not too much screaming, so I'm happy about that.
That's always good, man. I've had a very fun-filled weekend as well. Yesterday was my daughter's first birthday, so we had a nice celebration for her on that. It's cool.
Oh wow! Is that your first kid?
My first baby, first everything, first birthday for her, and I always relay it to the game because the game came out just shortly after she was born. I was like, this was the whole reason why I ended up getting into Eve Echoes, was because she was born.
Yeah, because you don't have time to at the computer.
Right? Well, I had some time off. I had some time off of work, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, while the baby is sleeping and all that. It's like, what am I gonna do at home? And as for a gamer, I've already played all my other games for years, right? And I looked into getting Eve, and it turned out Eve Online, my computer at the time couldn't run it. And so I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, well, let's see if there's something mobile that's related to space things. And at the time, Eve Echoes was under like a pre-order. And so I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay, pre-ordered Eve Echoes. So the daughter was born. I had some time off, of course, in between times. But then when the game launched, I basically started playing the game that day, and got into it, and I've been hooked ever since.
That is a coincidence, man. Yeah. Wow, yeah, like I need a space game, and Eve Echoes is right there, so yes.
Yeah, I had no idea Eve Echoes was even a thing. I tried Eve Online, my game crashed every time I tried to create a character. Like, this freaking sucks,
Yeah.
And so I went to my tablet and said, like, okay, what kind of games can I just play on my tablet? And that one came up.
Amazing. Do you play other iOS games?
Right now, Eve Echoes is probably, I would probably say I play Eve Echoes like 90% of the time. And if I'm not playing Eve Echoes, then I'm playing like some Xbox games. I like Skyrim and Ark Survival Evolved.
Yeah.
So, I've been playing those two games for years, right? And I'm not going to completely get rid of those, but I'll occasionally play those too. But Eve Echoes literally consumes like 90% of my time.
Yeah, well, Eve Echoes needs 90% of your time, definitely.
Oh, for sure.
And it's a game that, if they run this right, we have this game for years, and I'm a huge iOS gamer. I'm a huge computer gamer overall, but ever since I got my first kid, which was many years ago, I got 4 now. So I was like, okay, I'm getting a PlayStation 4 so I can play now and then, because I cannot sit at the computer, and that didn't work because they wanted the TV and they wanted the PlayStation. So I started playing these iOS games, more active than I've done. I've started iOS ever since it started, but not that to that extent, if you say so. Right. There's not many games on iOS that lives a year or two. There's a few maybe gacha games and some games, but they do not have what Eve Echoes can have. So
Right. Well, before this, I mean, I was playing Adventure Capitalist. You know, it's just a game I could just waste like 5 minutes on. It's like, okay, just I got my fix for a game on a mobile device. Now I'm just gonna go do whatever I want.
Yeah.
It was never something like as in depth as what Eve Echoes is. Definitely not.
No.
Yeah.
Welcome to this game, should I say, since I started before you. But all right. No, okay. You are also a podcast. How did that start?
Oh, how did that start?
Long or short version?
This, I mean, I could give both, but you know, it basically all started when I got pretty deep into Eve Echoes, and you know, I wanted to hear the news. You know, everybody knew of Captain Benzie. Everybody knew of Damon Zell. They were some of the first content, if not the first content creators we had for Eve Echoes. And you know, I was looking around like, okay, they got videos, and at the time I was listening to a lot of podcasts. I'm like, okay, is there a podcast for this? And it turned out there was, and it was called Echoes of New Eden. And so I listened to at the time, the host, his name was Joni. Some people called him Jay Honey, or you know, the name was controversial, right? But anyway, I called him Joni. And I listened to, I don't know, he probably had about 8 episodes out at that time. And on one of his episodes, he said, yeah, hey, I'm looking for help to run the show. And so I reached out to him. I was like, okay, cool. You know, I'm going to reach out to him and see what I can do to help. You know, at the time he was doing like kill mills and plex pricing. And, you know, he needed people to look for news to talk about, stuff like that. And I was that guy. And, you know, I did a lot of this stuff behind the scenes, like writing the script and doing a lot of the research on some of the stuff, even coordinating interviews on, you know, just to talk to people, right? So we did that for months. We actually, so say I believe I came in season 1 of Echoes of New Eden. I came in right about episode 12 or 13. And then that season had 22 total episodes. So, and so in those last 10 or so, I was actually a part of. So during the Christmas break, and I know I was telling you a little bit about this before, he decided to quit the game. And so in that time, you know, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with the podcast. And he's like, well, you can take it over if you want. And so that's what I did. I took it over, and I've been doing it ever since. And yeah, that's basically it. That's how it all started.
Is he not playing Eve Echoes anymore?
No, at the time when he quit, he was still like a fan of the show. And he had gone off and started his own kind of streaming, like video game streaming type service. And he was doing that for a little while, and then all of a sudden he kind of just fell off the face of the earth. He removed all Discords, and I couldn't get a hold of him anymore. So as far as I know, I don't think he plays anymore.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people left Eve Echoes, so I don't know.
Yeah, and it was right in that in the timeline. There was kind of a dull point in time right there. It was kind of right in the beginning of the Southern War, actually.
Oh,
crazy. Yeah. If that were to land right in the beginning of January, mid-January.
So his podcast was about flex prices. He talked about stuff like that. And is your podcast the same, or have you changed the idea a bit?
So yeah, you know, and I came in and I had some ideas, and we ended up actually meshing a lot of those ideas. And initially his was like, here's a 15-minute soundbite of what's going on in Echoes of, or in New Eden, basically, right? So yeah, he would cover Plex, you know, top kill mails for the week, whatever news and announcements came out from Eve Echoes, etc., right? Maybe some of the drama that's going around. And then he would have his interview with like a influential person of the time. That was cool. But he like, we would have an hour-long interview with somebody, and he would cut it down to like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and it always ate me up. I'm like, I cannot. We're not talking to these people for an hour plus just to get a 20-minute soundbite, to go to the show. Well, it turned out, there's other things that were involved because the podcast, the website that I uploaded to, like, it's a subscription based service, and I only have a certain amount of time of audio that I can actually upload for listeners to listen to. So like right now I have 6 hours a month of audio that I can upload for what I pay, and that comes out of pocket. And so I can make hour-long shows, but I probably wouldn't do too many 2-hour-long shows, right? Because then that starts getting past my time. Well, anyway, at the time is he only had allocated like a couple hours, and so if you were to do all the math, he could only have like 4 30-minute shows a month. Otherwise, he would have to pay more. So, and he wasn't working at the time because COVID and all of that. So he was kind of strained on money at that time too. So yeah, that was a big factor, and that always ate me up. So yes, in the beginning it was different, and then once I officially took it over, that was kind of when I decided to take my go with it as how I wanted it to go, and I've been doing it ever since. I've made some changes too, like introducing the round table, and some of the news like Plex. I understand like now that Plex has like crashed hardcore, like last time checked was 1.2 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me as a player, I never looked at Plex like daily, and
it depends on what
that's
you do.
just not, it's not something that I'm interested in like listening or hearing about. So if I want to just check what Plex pricing is, I just go and look. I don't need to have somebody to tell it to me. So that's my whole theory behind that. Is like, if you want the info, you can look for yourself, or you can have somebody tell you. I just choose not to tell you. But that's specifically for Plex. And kill mails and stuff, I kind of faded those out, as a lot of these kill mails, like Damon Zell, he gets his, and they're all in the billions, of course. And at the time, it was actually good, because at the time, finding a loot pinata magnate that was worth 1.2 billion at the time was like, holy crap, that is hilarious, first of all, and second, like, nobody sees those numbers. Now, like, I'm killing billions worth of ISK ships every day, and it's whether or not, and Damon Zell does his too, where they have the solo kills, right? It's like you can gangbang a nightmare and kill it with 157 ships. That's cool. It's worth 18 billion. Okay, I seen that. That happened last week too. But the solo kills is even more, special. It's like, okay, well, that guy just took on a nightmare, but he did it solo in a whatever else ship, and that's actually worth actually talking about. So, but at the time, yeah, the kill mails some of them were amazing, of course, and those were worth talking about. But nowadays, I don't really find kill mails as a topic to hit.
Understandable. Like, I'm actually watching Plex prices. I'm analyzing stuff in game. That's kind of how I make my money, so I can do my PvP. But I would not be inclined to look at or listen to a pod or look at the video where people say what the Plex prices are, because that is very easy for me to see. If someone make a video about how it got that way, or why it is this way, or why it will change, that is more important.
And that goes along with like watching the market over time. And then there's probably websites, I'm pretty sure there's websites that do that, where they track the pricing of Plex like every day, and they dropped it on a calendar, said, okay, on May 5th it was this, on May 6th it dropped, on May 7th it went up, and so on and so forth. And you can actually see kind of like in stocks, right? You got that. And yeah, and you can see how the prices had fluctuated throughout the year, and to the point where it's now, okay, it's like, okay, it's at 1.2 million now, but what happened to make it that? Indeed. And everybody and their mother has excuses for that, but what really made it happen, right? And I think we can say insurance did it, but that's the thing.
And insurance did a lot, and I have my own theories. I come from EVE Online, so I played that for 18 years. I've seen Plex go up and down. I did understand how the market worked because I was a market guy. So I kind of see some like a dead giveaway for me, but I cannot be 100% sure, of course. Like the insurance is a big part of it, and I would like to have a podcast about insurance with netties and just tell them like what's going on. But I'm fairly sure that they know. It's just that they have other priorities right now.
Well, just recently they hired an economist working for them.
I thought they had one.
Well, I'm not sure if they had one before, but I heard, or at least I seen from Joseph that they had hired an economist to help assist with this. So maybe we'll see some better progress in that.
I hope so.
In the next year. So yeah, and with Insurance V3 coming out soon too, I'm watching the live stream right now because I wasn't able to watch it yesterday live.
Yeah, that's what.
So and I'm kind of just catching myself up on that and whether or not they'll drop any hints as to what we will see in Insurance version 3. But if they want to assist with the market, to be better for the market, then something's got to happen with the insurance, and they have to adjust it so that it is favorable for the market, which I think they will. I don't know that for sure, but I'm hopeful that they will.
Yes, they have to, but hopefully in the near future, the prices are going to change and you can do stuff and make money of selling stuff on market again. And that is when the game is going to flourish.
Yeah, and supply and demand too. If you get the demand up, and then of course prices are going to go up.
Yeah, of course. So and the demand is down. That's what we need.
Yeah, the demand is down because every time you lose a ship, you're getting most of your crap back.
Yes,
unless you're one of those really unlucky people that drop like everything. But
yeah, and you get killed by me because I never loot. It's like
I've had a couple unlucky members where they literally dropped everything. I'm like, wow, the game hates you. Good luck on claiming that.
Still, if you drop it, someone pick it up, and it is still on the market.
Yeah, true.
So it needs to disappear. But all right, okay.
We can go on.
We can go on. I have an interesting question because I like Rambo the movies. And I'm a sucker for like everything with not just Rambo, but kind of like Sylvester Stallone. I like the Rocky movies and Rambo movies. So, did you name your character, or did you name yourself Rambo because of the apple or because of the character?
Neither.
Neither. Oh, so you just like Rambo is a cool name.
It's my real name.
Is it your real name?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh yeah. Why did you joke? That would be so awesome. Okay.
No, yeah, there's people out there with the Rambo in their names, and I've actually met somebody with that. But
as a middle name, right? Or what?
Say that again.
As a middle name or a
last name?
Either last name. Okay, cool.
Yep. And that's what they go by, right? So
that's cool.
My name actually goes back into like the Xbox days where I was playing Call of Duty and I had some other name at the time, and I decided to start like my own clique. And at the time I changed my name because people thought of how I did PvP was like guerrilla warfare. Like I go in and guns blazing, I don't care about my surroundings or anything. I just tear it up, right? And that's Rambo quality. And that's what you see in all the movies, right?
Yes.
Stallone, he just goes in, he's killing everything. There's all this action going on, and it's always around him. Well, when I played Xbox and Call of Duty and whatnot, that's how it was. I'm not going to lie, that's how it was. And people are like, man, that name suits you because that's what it's like watching you play that game. So, and that's been like that for 12 plus years now. So, I've always just stuck with it. And even then into Eve Echoes, my game, I have Rambo and all my characters. So they people notice me. I was noticed yesterday too, just logging in.
That's
I had
cool.
a character. There's somebody, he had messaged one of my alts, and he said, "I'm blaming you for the." He said, "I'm blaming you for the traffic coming through Enriel since your last show."
Haha.
I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." Because when I was talking to Minev, I was telling him about Enriel, and I told the people like where to find Enriel because I was at the time it was a very PvP kind of hotspot.
Yeah.
And I log into Kenora and I get a message. I've never talked to this person before. They were read to me,
Yeah.
and and he messages me and he's like, "I blame you for all this stuff going on in Kenora or Enriel." I was like, "Oh, cool. I guess it's not bad."
I need to get back to Enriel. I usually do my PvP there, right off the gate of Konora, for
Yeah.
my what the fuck videos. So, yeah.
Yeah, I used to live in Cache, and it was always a hot spot getting in and out of Enreal. That's there's people that had cameras and whatnot,
Yeah.
live streaming the gate, whether or not we were going to be able to pass through safely. And then, of course, the enemies got smart, and they would move, and yeah, those are the days.
So in Catch, you say. So what alliance are you in?
Well, right now I'm in SHH. But when I lived in Cache, I was part of the GHA, so the Golden Horde Alliance, when that was thriving, I guess you could say. And yeah, they had reigned over there in Cache and Geminet.
Okay, cool. How do you like it? Do you like it there?
As the Alliance, yeah, I love it. Yeah, they welcomed us, with open arms since the whole fallout of GHA, and we get into SHH and it's pretty much like home. It's like very little changed in between GHA and SHH as far as like culture goes. Like taxes and all that. It was not really that much of a difference. GHA was very fun for what it was, but everybody knew that whole situation probably wasn't going to last long. Because what was it? Democracy never lasts in a game like this or something. There was some saying behind it. And it lasted for what it was. But coming to SHH, I mean, we love it. Or at least I do. And, they treat us well, and we basically do anything that we want.
It's common that broken down alliances or corporations always find a new home, and people are nice to them, and you can feel like you have a new home pretty much instantly in Eve Echoes because everyone is friendly. Even though we're fighting, I mean, we are, but I mean, in the end, it's just a game, and most of the time you fight, it's like, yeah, good fight and nothing else.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I like talking to people. Even though you could be read to me in the game, I talk to you like this, person to person, and everybody's always friendly.
Yeah,
it's
of
like,
course.
oh, I heard that Sheev guy. He's really a tyrant and he talks a lot of shit. Well, I'm talking to Sheev right now, and he's like the nicest person I've ever met. So who am I going to believe, right? So
it's up for everyone. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. And that's one reason why I like interviewing the people. You really actually get to know them better, in general.
Yeah.
And okay, so in my podcast, I may have some questions that are going on like about current events, right? And maybe that person had something to do with it, or they have some insight on it, and I'll ask specific questions like that. But if you understand kind of where they're coming from, then you can understand their decisions.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of that, I think ever since I started listening to Joe Rogan show, it's like years when he wasn't this big as it is today. I'm pretty sure you know who it is. So I started listening to him, and some of the people he brought there that I had an idea of who they were pretty different. He made a podcast with Lady Miley Cyrus on the show, and I was like, oh shit, Miley Cyrus, am I gonna listen to this? And I have heard that podcast like 3 times because I really like her after that one, and like when you talk to people, just as you say on podcast, you get another feeling, like you get to know them a bit better, and you see it from their view and not through like newspapers or Facebook or whatever it could be.
Right.
And it's a normal person, and with a great personality. And so this is kind of the reason why I wanted to start this on Eve Echoes, because I see all these people that I am found of that is very successful in what they do, like FCs or whatever, and I'd be like, I want to know more about him, because I probably like him even more if I talk to him.
Yeah, and it's amazing what conversation just can be sparked up about, like, how did you start this game? Oh, well, this happened and that happened, and then there's a whole timeline, and it's all from their perception, and everybody's got different experiences. Even like starting the game, like my experience of starting the game was different compared to yours starting the game, and we could talk about that and laugh about that and whatever. Everybody's is different, and so yeah, it's amazing how long you can actually talk to somebody about this game, let alone specific stories about it too.
I think it's great. If I wouldn't do my podcast, I would probably listen to other podcast people, like the stuff that you have. I can listen to that, and I be like, oh, it's kind of like playing Eve, but I don't really play it right then. I just listen to it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I listen to podcasts when I work.
Yeah,
when I'm not playing the game, then I'm still somehow in the game. Either I'm listening to podcasts or Discord. I'm replying to messages or whatever, even though I'm at work and not actually playing Eve Echoes. I'm still in the game.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, not to like say something weird, but if you want to be successful in Eve Echoes, you have to play Eve Echoes on and off. It's like you have to play it when you play it, and you have to actually play it when you do other stuff. You have to do a lot of Googling and YouTubing and learning and reading stuff. Otherwise, it's gonna feel too big. I think that's why it's some people drop off. Maybe go the distance to understand it all.
Right. When I first started this game, I thought it was like just going to be like an RPG game. Because I had zero EVE Online experience. I knew nothing about Eve Echoes coming into it. I start playing it. I get into a ship. I undock, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's a moon right there. What do I do? Okay, it turns out you can't do anything. But you go to anomalies, you start doing that. And then I kill a couple pirates, and I dock up. Okay, I quit the game. And I come back the next day, and then I'm like, okay, well, now I'm going to do this tutorial and all that. Okay, I finished the tutorial. You level up, tech levels. You dock up again. Day 3 rolls around. You're kind of getting like this RPG vibe. But then all of a sudden it says, join a corporation. Okay, I don't know anything about corporations. Let me just find a random corporation, get the skill points. Okay, bam. Once you've joined a corporation, then all of a sudden is like the giant gates opened up, and like you get the music and the clouds and all that crap. And it's like, holy crap, there's so much more to this game than undocking, killing a couple pirates, and then docking back up.
Yes.
I never seen anything like it. It's that community that really just sucked me into it more and more. Yes, I do like the game, but the community goes hand in hand.
It really does. And I did a video recently that, like, okay, people like it, like, more than I thought. It was actually just a video of me sitting outside Yida, pretty much like the video I'm having right now in the podcast. I have people undocking in Yida. There's a deeper thought in my videos, most of them, and the video I recently made was like ship skins, so like insane ship skins. So I was sitting outside Yida, and I was just like, I was looking at people's ships when they undock, and then I took a screenshot of that, if it's good, if it has a skin, or if it is a nice ship. And I did that. It's like 100 images or whatnot in the first video, because people tend to want to have more. So, but the reason I did it was actually to show people that this is actually people playing this game. It's like,
right,
it's so hard because I'm an iOS gamer as like from start, and when I start an iOS game, I don't like join a guild or whatever and start talking to people and be like, so you want to do something together, you know, it never, never. And so how can people that start Eve Echoes today be like, oh, this is a space game and I need to make friends and join a corporation, we can do all this stuff together? They don't think that. They be like, okay, I will get an announcement and we kill like a boss once a week with the corp or whatever. You know, it's yeah, it's very hard to make this game grow for normal iOS players. I'm not sure how to make it, so I thought I'd make this video just to show the ships like going out, because everyone is like a person, you know. It's crazy, and you can talk to everyone. So yeah.
You know, I find it funny how you'd brought that up. I was at Jita a day or so ago, and I was, you know, I wasn't really like looking in local, but when I undocked from that ITC, I was like, oh, I wonder what ship he's in. If he is here, like recording it, like, I don't know if we are actually recording it as we speak, like right now, or if it's like pre-recorded and then you kind of just overlay it. But I was like, oh, I wonder if he's recording the Jita gate right now. But at the same time, when you're doing that, like on that episode, you were talking about watching people's these nanocore kind of skins that these people are putting on.
Yeah.
At the same time, it gives you a chance to roast them because of how shitty some of them look. You have to be honest there. They do. Some of them look absolutely horrible, and I think that's part of they probably throw like a little bit of comedy behind it. You know, whether or not it's like, oh, okay, this is my rainbow colored Tempest and I'm just gonna go and fly it and just to have fun, you know.
Of course it's funny as hell.
Okay, you know what's funny about that too is we had a CTA it was probably like a week or two ago, and in the Tempest fleet there was like this bright yellow Tempest. I'm like, oh my gosh, that thing is so freaking ugly. And then right next to it was a bright red one and like a bright teal one, just pure teal. Like these things, we need to primary these things because these things are just butt ugly, right? But that was part of the comedy behind it. They knew that they stood out. Like, okay, that ship is getting primary just because it's bright ass yellow.
Yes, of course. And I mean,
it's the ugliest thing, and especially on a Tempest.
And everyone has its own opinion, of course. And it's like some ships are like, some people really put down the time and effort to make something that they really, really like, and it may look good or not, but you can still see that, okay, this guy has put some time in this, or this Dominic's here is just green. It's like, oh yeah, he just made everything green just to show his ship. And I understand it, I like it, and I mean, that makes it kind of cool. It's still like, yeah, okay, so I'm out PvPing and this green Dominix is warping in. I would be more like, okay, shit, I might get beaten right now because this guy probably likes the game, like compared to a normal Dominix that might as well kick my ass too, but like, it's just he could have like nothing on it. So I like it. I like when people do what they can to make it personal, whatever color it is.
Yeah, and pretty much every time that they ask us in the content creator channel, I tell them we need more ship personalization. We need more ships. We need skins. We need all this stuff, you know. And the last 2 or 3 times they asked, I'd said that. And look, we got nanocores.
Yeah, and that is like, everything. You can do everything with it. You just need to do the Concord stuff to get it. So
yeah.
What is it that you do in the game? What's your profession in the game?
I do a little bit of everything. If I were to split up my time between mining, PvE, and PvP, it's probably 33, 33, 33. Like I spend, I'm pretty well rounded as to what I do in the game, and that's when I play the game. Because of my child and because of my work schedule, you know, I only have a certain window of time a day that I can actually play the game, sit down, have fun. But I am the CEO of my corporation, so I do like everything that CEOs do, right? So on the back end, just court management and all that. And then typically I can do that throughout the day just through Discord, So occasionally I'll have to log in, to accept members, change tax or whatever. But otherwise, yeah, that's mostly what I do. It's actually pretty well rounded.
Yeah, that is impressive. I quit being a CEO when I started this YouTube thing because it takes too much time.
It does take a lot of time, and when I was voted into power, I had already been devoting like a lot of time toward it anyway, just because of my level within Discord and the corp. I spent a lot of time just working with people and managing programs and all of that. So when I became officially the CEO, almost nothing changed because I had already spent that amount of time. My wife is like, "You're not becoming CEO if it's gonna take even more time out of your time." I'm like, no, I think it's going to be about the same. I literally just do the same thing. And I did allocate a couple of my jobs to some other members. So actually now I have less things to do compared to before I went into the CEO, if that makes sense, So time management definitely, you got to learn that.
So like you don't see this in any other iOS games, like the husband or the wife goes to the partner and be like, this game that I'm playing, yeah, what? I'm gonna be like a guild leader. Like, no, you're not. Like, you don't see that in other games.
Well, remember too when I was telling you about young Rambo, when I undocked for the first time, I had no idea I was going to be a CEO someday. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I ended up joining a corp randomly, and I ended up going through the ranks, literally going through the ranks, and up until where I'm at now.
The corp that you joined had ranks, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's not like a bot rank or anything too, where ranking you based off how much Discord you use. It's like, okay, we had PvP roles and industry roles and then officer roles and etc. Going up, admiral roles. I started from nothing and just said, okay, hey, I want to get into PvP. Okay, started doing PvP stuff. Got into some of the PvP channels and stuff like that, and kind of learning what OPSEC was and stuff like that. And let's see, I was a I was an FC for one day. I had worked all the way up to becoming an FC for a main fleet, and I did that for one day. And it was on that same day I was promoted to being a recruiting officer. And so that got me into the leadership team. So I basically dropped everything that I knew about FCing and focused on recruiting. And I mean, ever since then, I had some sort of say within the corp as far as, I did everything with recruiting and then, human resources and all that. And eventually got up to where I'm at now. And I was actually voted into place, believe it or not. And people enjoyed what I do for the corp. And I said, hey, CEO is getting past. The old CEO didn't really have the time to devote to the role. So he was like, hey, do a vote, see who wants it, and then get back to me. And it turned out it was me. So I felt honored in that sense, but I was ready to kick ass, and we're doing pretty well.
That's good. I think that's the right way to become a CEO. I made my corp from day like 4 or something. And started working with that, but and I also had this ranking system that the more you talked, the more you did with the corporation, the more invested you were, the higher rank you got, and that worked very fine. I mean, some people liked it, some people didn't, and I think it's one of the best way to know what kind of members you have.
Yeah, for sure. That when my corp was originally made, the CEO at the time had no idea that it was going to blow up into something this big. So he kind of rode the wave as well up until he decided to pass it on. And then by the time I got it, I'm like, okay, I'm already basically there. This is all the stuff that I do, and I take it over, and then now I'm implementing things and being way more active, with the members than even I was before when I was doing recruiting.
I think it's cool. I think you have a spot that suits you right now, and just keep going.
I keep on keeping on. Yeah. My members, they can message me at any time. I make myself generally available, and they all know that I do the podcast. They all know that I have a young one and a full-time job and all that, so they really respect my time. And that's really nice. My corp, we're we say family first, but yet we're all like a family together, the core group that we have. So it's really nice just to connect with those people.
I totally understand that. And as we're talking about this, I miss my members. I am in the same corp as pretty much everyone, because we joined another corp. We merged because I couldn't handle being a CEO. I thought that was too much time. So I do see some people, but a lot of people left during the dark ages of Echoes.
The Great Depression.
Yes. And I miss them pretty much. I do miss a lot of people that is active today as well. Because now I'm a member, I don't have the same authority, so I don't feel I can just poke people and say, hey, talk to me right now. I don't want to be in the way, but I miss a lot of people. But yes, I mean, who knows in the future, right? Who knows? So
yeah,
I want to talk about how Echoes works as a game today. Do you think it runs as it should? We have talked about insurance and that it's fraud, but but except that, what do you think we could change, or what do you think we need to change?
I'm really optimistic about this game because I don't know, like, EVE Online went through a lot of changes over the years, right? And I'm sure EVE Echoes will as well. Now, whether or not those changes are good or bad, eventually it'll kind of round out so everybody's happy, right? As far as changes to the game, I'm expecting them to add more stuff. Of course, we know they're going to add more stuff, right? But I think it's all good. I don't really have a complaint about the game. I run it on an iPad and I run it on an iPhone. I very rarely use emulators, though I have alts that do run on emulators. But I really don't have any complaints about the game. And I'm not hardcore enough of a player to find every flaw that's in the game either. Everybody knows the insurance is a big deal, and a lot of those players hurt because of it. But me personally, I didn't really get hurt by it because I'm not losing ships that often, or I'm not flipping ships and using the market, or making money or anything like that. So I could see people's frustrations with things, not necessarily just insurance, but even just bugs too. People say, "Oh, this bug, it's game breaking." I'm like, okay, just give it until next week, and they do a maintenance, and then everything resets. Or, I try to really be positive about it, and that partially is too because I don't know what to expect in the future of the game. So, like dreadnoughts, for instance, I know nothing about dreadnoughts. Could they break the game? They could. Could they be absolutely horrible? If could they be the worst thing possible? They could be. I don't know. I have to be optimistic. And so I try to maintain that, right? What would I change right now? I wouldn't change anything. I want the devs to continue their roadmap. I want to continue playing this game as they see it. Obviously, they know something we don't, right? And
I hope so.
as to what releases and what not, and what doesn't, right? So, and I think a lot of it, comes down to the coding and behind the scenes, and there's some things that are difficult to code in a game. I get that, That's probably why we don't have API or whatever else kind of luxuries that people would want compared to Eve Online. So with it being a mobile game, I'm perfectly happy at the state that it is now. The devs just need to keep on doing what they're doing. They'll fix the bugs and continue with these updates to bring more content to the people.
I'm very optimistic, but I also don't want the game to disappear. It's like there's some stuff they need to do, and I'm pretty sure they do it, but I don't want it to be like a Blizzard problem where it takes 15 years and then it's like the game is dead.
Yeah.
Well, if we have it in 15, like if we have Eve Echoes in 15 years, I'd be happy. So, but yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a thing if this game was around for that long? Like, I don't. If somebody asked me if I'm going to be playing this game next year, I could tell them, honestly, I don't know. There might be other games that suit my interest and that, I might just be over this game by the time that other game comes out. And so to look down a timeline of 5, 10, 15 years, man, that's so hard. So hard to do.
I mean, I could see myself playing this for 3-4 years. It's like I don't have a problem with that, but I do know what it could be. And if it's anything like Eve Online but on mobile, then it will be bigger than Eve Online.
Well, just think too, this game is evolving so much quicker than Eve Online did.
Oh yes.
Do you think moon mining came out instantly in Eve Online?
I know it didn't. Timeline? I know it didn't.
Right. So if we waited 1 year in Eve Echoes to get moon mining, Eve Online, it was potentially 5 or 10 years. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it's even more. It's even more.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this game is going so much quicker than Eve Online did. This game is evolving so much quicker than Eve Online is.
It does.
Dreadnoughts again. All this stuff, like, we're getting it in the timeline so much sooner than what Eve Online did. And I guess we have to be happy about that, right? But
I have no problem with how the game started, and I don't see a problem like in general where we are today, but unless they have a fix for what we are experiencing right now, then it will be a problem. But when I started Eve Online back in 2004, I think it took me, I don't know, maybe a month or two before I sat in a cruiser, and I was flying that ship for half a year before I had a battleship. And when I started Eve Echoes, I started it, and it's like $1 million was a lot of money in the beginning. It was so much, and I got 2 million, and I got my first like Quercer, I think, and I started doing even harder missions and made more money. But the next ship was a cruiser, and that was like 8 or 9 million. And I was like, this is gonna take me fucking weeks. And for an iOS game, it's a long time. It's a very long time. But it's like I did do that in the beginning, so I know kind of how precious the ISK is. And in a game like Eve Echoes, we need this time span to understand what it is that we're flying, because if I jump into a nightmare, it will hurt my wallet a bit. So I do not do that. But if I jump in an Omen today, I don't really care. But a new player need to feel that. It's like, oh, I just joined a corporation and they gave me like a Mauler, and they gave me a Caracal or whatever, and they lose it, and they be like, oh shit, I need a new ship, and here's a new ship. I think that could be a problem. I don't know. So maybe
it's that sentimental value. Like for me, I've built all my ships that I fly, from my mining ships to my PvE ships to my PvP ships. They all, like, every single one I built myself. I mined the ore. I did I bought the blueprint, whatever.
Yeah.
Built it, made it, and I still have literally like all of them today. My first retriever, I still have. My first procure, I still have. My tornadoes and my tempests and thrashers and all that crap that I used to use back in the day, I still have, because that sentimental value is there. It's like, man, I built the ship. I care about the ship. I'm not going to go do stupid shit about it. Now, if the Alliance gives me a ship to battle in, oh sure, I'll do whatever they want me to do. If it ends up dying, okay, cool. I just ask for another ship. There's no sentimental value in that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But if I build my own ship, and if new players just build their own ships rather than them, given to them, it gives them a bit more strive to maybe be more conservative with it, right? Then they have something to work to. Then at the same time, they have something to work for. So if I have a blueprint for a nightmare, it's going to take me a year to mine all the ore for that. Not to mention the planetary, not to mention the ISK to be able to just build this stupid thing. It's going to take me a super long time. But at the end of the day, I played the game. I met my goal. I got what I wanted. On to the next thing, and there's sentimental value in that.
Yeah, and this is why Eve Echoes is a great game.
Yeah, I mean, aside from it taking like all of my time, I love it.
Yeah, but you have something to show for it. It kind of feels like that, I can actually go to my father and I can be, hey, look at this ship. He'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, what is it? Hey, it's a spaceship. I'm proud of it. And he'll be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. But if I go with another game, we're like, this is my game. This is how far I've come. You'll be like, are we playing games? So it's a bit different. It's like you can actually explain a value in Eve Echoes a lot easier than explaining some other stuff. I think, at least, I mean, I've played, I don't know how many games, but it's hard to explain to someone, or how should I say, it's hard to make someone appreciate something that you have done without having a good way to explain like how you got it or the work you did.
Well, especially too if they don't understand the back end of it, like what you actually had to do in order to acquire that.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
I ended up getting my wife to play this game. And when I first started it, and that's what it was like, hey, I'm joining the CTA, I'm gonna be not doing anything but playing this game for like 2 hours, and she would give me that evil eye or whatever, right? And I just deal with it. But then, that's the thing, is like I show her the ship. Hey, look at this ship that I got. It cost me millions of ISK, and it took me 30 days and to get all the materials for it and all that. And then she just looks at it like, okay, what is it? What's the meaning of that? But then it wasn't until she actually started the game. It was actually kind of funny. When she started the game, she was asking me for stuff like, hey, I need a loan for like 30 million so I could buy this ship. I'm like, I didn't have nobody loaning me ISK in the beginning of this game. I had to buy like her first 3 or 4 ships. But I wanted her to get interested in the game. And then, once she found out about how the game works, and she's able to do all this stuff similarly to how I learned. Now she's completely independent. I don't need to loan her any money.
Yeah, and she likes the game and she still plays, right?
She helps with the corp. She still plays today, and it's the corp calls us the power couple.
Oh yeah, shit. I tried to get my wife to play it. She downloaded it. She didn't care about a name, and I was like, yeah, this is not gonna go well.
Yeah.
So yeah, she doesn't play, but yeah, it's not for everyone. As I say, some people like swords and axes, and other people like racing games. But I wanna be in the future. I wanna fly spaceship.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So
it's like I've played other games. I've played all the swords and axes and shoot 'em up games and all that, racing games. But this is the only game that I've been so in depth with that like I'm a huge astronomy fan,
oh yeah,
right?
me too.
Exosolar planets and space, galaxies just in general. Man, I mean I just watched Star Wars the other night just because I wanted to get into that realm of Star Wars. Like, man, seeing their visions of the planets and watching the spaceships fly and
Yeah,
all that. I'm like,
yeah,
man, that's so cool. And this game gives you that aspect. It's like you travel to a system. I mean, whether or not you can pronounce the name, sure, but you get there and then, holy smokes, there's 12 planets here. I think I've seen some systems with like 15 planets.
yes.
And
Some people, yeah,
compared to our solar system, it's like that is a lot of freaking planets. And I mean our real solar system.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, of course.
and you're looking at these and if you understand our solar system, then you're kind of like, okay, I understand this is a game, but why is there a gas giant like 3 AU away from the sun? Why is that
It
even a
is
thing?
possible. It is
It is
possible,
possible, yeah.
obviously.
But
So, but yeah,
but we
yeah,
we always compare it to like our real life solar system.
yeah, of
Okay,
course.
what's a
If you're a
habitable
space
planet?
nerd, if you're a space nerd,
Yeah.
you do that.
Yeah, it's like what's there an Earth-like planet doing 13 AU away from the sun? That's just not possible. But in the game it is.
Yeah.
So it's like it's temperate, you look at the temperature and all that stuff. Like I'm very interested in how that stuff is. And but I like traveling to a planet, just sitting there, I just look at it. I'm like, dang. And actually on some of them, I don't know if you've noticed, but some of them are habitable. Not
Yes,
habitable.
yeah, yeah, of
Some
course.
of them are habited, like they
Yeah.
have lights on their night side, like
Yes,
there's like
yes.
civilizations and crap on it.
Stuff lives there. Yeah.
Yeah, and other planets have hurricanes and spots on them. And it's like, yeah, there's a storm going on over there. Like you see a Earth-like planet, and there's like 7 hurricanes going on. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, that they got some problems over there. But that's just the stuff that I think about in this game, and I find the fascination behind the astronomy. Uh, just this game, there's so many planets, and just Stargate jumping is cool. Even just traveling from gate to gate, and you speed up, right? You're going kilometers a second, and then all of a sudden you're going AU per
Yeah.
second, and you're going like 13 AU. Like, holy crap, man, that is so fast.
Yeah. 13
It just
distance to the
amazes.
sun every second.
Yeah.
So crazy.
And
Yeah, it's
if you
yep.
look at it like in real life, 1 AU is the distance from the sun to the earth. That is
Yeah.
1 AU.
So 13.
Yeah.
13 AUs in a second.
In 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
That's
and
fucking quick.
Eve echoes and Eve Online. It's a possible future. It's not too far fetched. So it's kind of like being in the future for me at least.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And the
I
ships are
yeah.
futuristic.
Say that again.
And the ships are futuristic, right? You see how all these things are designed, and they all have their own factions and whatnot. Like, man,
Yeah.
these things are okay. Some of them look like blocks in space, but others look actually pretty cool.
Do you know the story
Of what?
of Eve Gate? Why the ships are, why they look differently, why they are 4 different races and stuff.
No, actually, I don't know any of that.
Yeah, I could go on. I could actually tell it, but it's a long story. But
That's
basically,
that's for another time, right?
yeah. But basically, just to get you intrigued, the humans had to leave our solar system, so we found a wormhole and we got into that. And when we ended up, the wormhole died. So we were just a bunch of people in spaceships that had to land on planets, and there was some wars going on, and so we got divided into 5 races, and the 5th race is the Jovian race that we do not have in Ivecos. Behind, they started over again and built like spaceships and started to move into space again, and we did that on 4 different areas. So that's kind of the basic of it. But it's a cool story. They should have it in Eve Echoes.
And actually, yeah, we don't really have that much lore in Eve Echoes, though I did read something relatively recently, and I can't remember exactly where I saw it because I just see so much information and all this. But we do have lore being written for Eve Echoes.
Yes.
You know, I think part of it too is in the Arcana Museum, right? You can get those artifacts and then you kind of read up on the artifacts and all that. I think there's some lore there, but I think we're actually going to get more lore in the future, and then there's actually lore being written.
Yes.
About that stuff.
I heard that too, and I know some people that are writing lore for them, and hopefully they get published. I don't know. We see. But yeah, we need lore. Lore is a big part. Even if you don't read lore, you can have it in trailers. You can have it in stuff that happens in the game. So yeah, it makes more alive.
I had a member who I had a member who wrote short stories, and he did it for Eve Online, and he ended up, there was like a contest or something for Eve lore in Eve Online, and he placed in whatever their contest was. So he actually wrote a story good enough to be able to get rewarded in some way, right? Well, he's in my corp, and he decided that he wanted to write some short stories on Eve Echoes. So his name is Paladin. He is an official Eve Echoes creator, like content creator. But on his website, he's got all his stories, and I know this is kind of a plug for him, but those people that are interested in kind of the lore aspect of Eve, he writes his stories in his experiences. So all the stuff that he has written about, yeah, okay, there are some events that didn't happen, but a lot of the stuff did, and it was through his eyes and experiences in the game of Eve Echoes, you know, and he throws his little twist on it, and they turned out to be really good stories.
Amazing. I would like to have a podcast with him talking about Eve lore.
You know, and he was one of those that got really busy. He was stuck at home because of COVID. Yeah. And then once everything was getting, you know, back up opened and whatnot, he ended up you know, so he's not very active in the game as much, and I don't think he's written any stories recently. So, but the stories that he did have out, I think there's like eight or so short stories.
Have you asked people can read? Have you asked him if you could read it? Like make a video and read it for people?
I actually did do that once. Yeah. So I on my podcast, I actually was able to get him to record. So I was able to get him to record himself reading the short story. He sent me the audio, and I edited it, and then I uploaded it on my podcast. So I'm gonna check right now what podcast episode that was.
Could you link that to me, and I can have it in the description for people to listen to?
Sure.
Okay. I actually have a story that I wrote when I played Eve Online. I'm not sure, maybe I should just change it a bit and make it into Eve Echoes instead. Oh, thank you. That might be something. So
let me click into this, because in the... Okay. So he did include his website. These are all like his finished ones. I think there is some... And I was thinking 8 parts. So it looks like he's got 4 stories, but they were written in parts. So like he would release them part 1, part 2, part 3, and he was doing that pretty much daily.
All right, cool. I will link it.
So yeah, and these are based off of experiences that he had in the game. And actually I had a episode on that as well on my podcast. And we talked about his history of Reapers Corporation and some of the experiences that landed like into this in these short stories. And he's just a really awesome guy to talk to. And you know, I hope someday he'll pick them back up.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so to get back on track,
Yeah,
because we are
yeah,
already.
we sidetrack everywhere.
Yeah, I like it, but it's like when I do the podcast with someone for the first time, I want to have it short and concise. I felt I butchered that. Like, okay, but okay. What is your vision of Ibecos in the future?
Well, if I follow their timeline, I really am just gonna stay optimistic and hope that they keep this game thriving. Um, and I hope that it continues to be a fun game for the people. So
That's a good answer. What is your favorite chip?
oh, dang, he's gonna hit me with that.
Yes, I am.
Hmm.
You can pick two if it's too hard.
Right now, I'm gonna have to say Tempest. I'm currently working on building myself a Maelstrom. I just love the look of that ship. So, as far as ships that I haven't flown yet, the Maelstrom's probably my favorite. But I really like the Tempest. That's pretty much my daily driver right now. Oh, the Slasher. Man, can't. Yeah, Slasher looks so good. I love that ship too. So, Mimitar. I'm a Mimitar fan. Yes, I
Yeah.
know solar panels, it's scrap metal, but
In
the
Rust we
nanocores,
trust.
yes, the nanocores do assist with that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like pretty much all the Mimitar ships, the Hurricanes, the Tornadoes, Tempest, of course. Yeah.
The Hurricane is nice, I think. And also, of course, the Tempest. It's a beast. I really like it. It's pretty quick for a battleship, too.
Yeah. Throw a large MWD on that bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes Nihilus space pretty fun.
Yeah. So you going range or close?
I brawl. I brawl with it. Yeah, so close range. And I actually have two. I have one in high sec that I was using for story missions, and I equipped that for long range. But man, just with the cannon cycle time, it's the long range freaking strike cannons suck. Like I'm so used to like a 2 second, 3 second activation time on the cannons, and I have to wait like 12 seconds on large strikes. I'm like, this is stupid. So brawling is definitely more fun and keeps you awake. Your adrenaline's going because you're always in the action. If you're staying back far enough to where you don't even get hit, then you're not having fun.
Yeah,
That's boring.
true.
I fall asleep doing that.
Yeah. Yes, and I like the autocannon sound. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing.
I got a Dominic's too that I tried just kind of semi AFKing some anomalies, and I throw down the sentries, and it works for semi AFK. I mean, it's really boring, but it works.
Yeah,
I guess some people are into that.
Yeah, I use my my Typhoon, fully tagged, pretty much AFK. I just lock, activate everything, and just warp in at 0, and I just sit there. So, but yeah, I brawl too. I don't want to be far away. I want to be up close and personal.
Well, see, you're just like Rambo. Yeah, you're up in the action.
Yeah,
you got action all around you. You're taking it.
Yeah, I got enemies on all sides, so I can shoot wherever I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I do it. I'm a huge 1-on-1 fighter or 1-on-5. It's fine. I don't blow people. I don't like it because I don't care if I win in the game. It's like I care if I get like an adrenaline fight. That's what I want. Then if I win or not, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So okay, so I think I'm gonna try to wrap this up. Really.
Yeah, we could go on forever. I mean,
yeah, we could actually do that.
We probably didn't even go through all the questions, huh?
Dude, no.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah,
we can speed through the rest of the questions if you want.
It's gonna change. It's gonna destroy the flow. I think we made it. I will keep them, and we can make more podcasts because this is really interesting. We kind of think alike on some parts. So, but can you recall the best fight you've been a part of?
Let's see. So This was back when I lived in Cache. I was actually training one of the new guys that I had just recruited into my corp, and I was just training him on just basic like fleet commands. I had a blinged out slasher. It was just a T4 slasher, the slasher 2.
Yeah.
And I had like C types on it. Dude, it was blinged out to the max for the time.
Yeah.
And we were in, I think, Wicked Creek at the time, and I wanted to. I was seeing how far I could go with this guy that I was training, and so we went up through all the anomalies. We went through T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. We were trying to find some T6s, and we had to go into low sec. So we started doing some T6s with it was just him and I. We both had slasher 2s. And we're pounding away at these anomalies. And then all of a sudden, this Vexer shows up. I'm like, oh shoot, primary this guy. And actually, my buddy, he ended up getting eaten alive by the drones. And I was continuously, dude, I almost had the Vexer down, and then his buddy showed up in a stabber, and they finished me off. So the guy who I was training was able to get away, because I was taking like all the aggro at that time. Like, I was hitting them hard. I was nice and close. Like, I was I was winning the fight up until his buddy showed up, and that stabber came in. They killed me. And you know what's funny about that was the guy messaged me. He said, "Good fight." And I was like, "Okay, good fight." And then he's like, "Hey, do you have the kill mail for that?" The NPC stole the kill mail. Because we were in a T6 anomaly. The NPC stole the kill mail from him. He wanted me to send him the kill mail. I was like, well, why do you want me to send you the kill mail? He's like, well, you put up a really good fight. I want to see your fit. I'm like, okay, yeah. So
was that the reason, really?
That's what he said. Yeah. I mean, a slasher 2 versus a Vexer.
And his friend.
Yeah, and then when that stabber came in, I was toast after that. But I basically had the guy up until that stabber came in, and he said good fight and all that. But I thought it was absolutely hilarious how the pirates of the anomaly stole the kill mail from that guy, and so that was probably one of my favorite fights. Definitely.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Okay. Well, this has been amazing. I really like talking to you. We have to do this again.
Man, I could just get on so many tangents, and we didn't even really get to all the stuff that you wanted to talk about. But let's just make this, who is Rambo Part 1, and then we could do parts 2 through 7 at a later date.
Yes, we can do that. People just tell us in the comments in what angle you want us to go. Like.
So yeah, I'll watch the comments too. I'll watch comments, and we'll stay in touch, Chief. And it was nice talking to you and being on your podcast. And I can't wait till this is released. I'll share it with my corp and everywhere that I share things. And I look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you so much for this.
Awesome, man. Hey, fly safe out there. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.